dear viewers. You're still watching The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International. It's now time for a second and final topic of discussion for today, and we're going to be highlighting the ways that we can boost the sense of belonging to the homeland amongst children and youth. And to shed more light on this topic, we're most delighted to be joined here in the studio by Dr. Hossam Dwidar, and he's a relationship and life coach. First of all, Doctor, thank you so much for joining us, and we're glad to have you on The Breakfast Show.
Good morning, and thank you for your invitation. It's an honor to be in this building, and I'm ready for your questions.
Yes.
Doctor, first of all, talking about the sense of belongings, it's not only, I don't want to start with the youth. I want to start from early age. I want to talk about children and how can we work on this to start a new generation who are really, the sense of belonging is something of great importance, and the feelings of their country, their homeland, to know more about Egypt, all this.
Thank you very much to start with this topic, because from the scratch, the child is belonging to his mother while he's infant and fetus, and once the umbilical cord is cutting, he felt this belonging. And the role of mother is very important in giving him the loving and belonging for her at the first 3 months. After that, the mother and father started to, build the roots of belonging in their children, in their infants, still infants up to 6 months, and they are like what we can say like a hard disk of a computer. You can put any data on their mind by this start, because the unconscious mind is ready and very, very, very acceptable to accept more data, more data, more data. So father and mother have the important role in this age. After that, from 6 months to 3 years, it's the role of father, mother, and family, all of the family. And for kids now, they go to kinder schools and playing schools.
Storage phase,
yes,
actually.
Yes, yes. And the role of the teachers in the nurses in the play school is very important, because from the psychological point of view, there is brain waves, which is started with the beta waves from up to 6 months. After that, the wavelength is different. After that, the less the wavelength is available, the more information you can give to the child, and it kept it up to and lasting for life. I can say you're just building the beliefs and the values in your child from the beginning.
Now moving on to a later stage for adolescence and youth, so what are the things that or the efforts that can be exerted in increasing their sense of belonging to the homeland? Because as you may know, maybe due to some pressure or stress, some of our youth might be feeling demotivated or overwhelmed by the West, for instance, and having an intention to leave their homeland and to leave their country for the sake of a better and a more prosperous life, for instance. How can we tackle such issues?
We can tackle such issues by making awareness and awakeness. Both must be founded to adolescents and youth. For example, just yesterday, my daughter's in adolescence age, and their school was doing a very, very nice thing. Yesterday, they took them to the Citadel and the Abdin Palace, as they are taking this in history. So here what you're studying, here what you seeing in the book, it's here a real life. I appreciated this
It's
with
a
the
field
school.
trip.
Yes, yes, it's very nice. It's very good to give the adolescents the feeling of belonging for everything. Although they are in a language school or an international school, history is very important to put the roots for the adolescents, because if you have the roots, you will never leave the land.
But by the way, even the West, they appreciate our history, and they are
Yes.
taking very much care of this. But let me say that I'm not defending them, but sometimes there is a significant role of the parents, because sometimes you talk in front of your children, and if regardless of the age, you are complaining all the time, criticizing, and for the sake of criticizing, and you're not highlighting the positive things that took place. So without, it's unconsciously, you are putting the child in a way that he is looking always at the negative side, or he's not happy with what he has.
Yes. Also, they have everything.
Yes.
Yes. This
Is another
what I
important
noticed.
part.
Yes.
Yes, you have everything, but you always believe that you have nothing.
Yes. This is something we can call acceptance. You have to.
Or satisfaction and acceptance,
Yes. Yes. Satisfaction and acceptance is very important, because you have to build your child with all you have. You have to be satisfied with what you have, and looking after that for more. But you have to be grateful, appreciate, and satisfied. This is an important rule, and you said a very important words. What we say in front of our children, even for
The early age, so when he grows up,
just put in his data mind and
negative images about his country.
Yes, so we need awareness, like what I said. The parents must be aware that every little word they speak, the child accept it and put it in his database.
This is something of great importance, because we have seen this actually, and when we start to blame the youth, for example, who are sitting on the Facebook and complaining and all this, it didn't come from scratch.
Yes.
Someone worked on this, and from here, let me ask you, how can you work on this, and how can we contain the anger of the youth, even though, yes, compared to 2 years ago, definitely we are far much better, and the situation can never be compared to any other time in our history, actually.
Yes.
We're talking about progress, we're talking about how the West, they are looking at us, we are talking about facilities, job opportunities, education, a new system of education, new universities taking place and opening in Egypt as well. So I mean, all things that the youth used to criticize or complain at, now things are completely different.
Here comes also the role of parents and role of coaching. I have a client, very about last month, yes, and I'm still working with him. He was disappointed. He was stressed. He was, he don't know what to do. Yes, he's very frustrated. And I sat with him, and what we do is digging in the roots of his beliefs and his values. We have to change the values and the beliefs to build up a new beliefs, and to maximize the positives and minimize the negatives. And it's very easy to be handled at any age by awakening this adolescence and give him a lot of positives. In a month he's completely different. He's athletic now.
Starting from what age? I mean, the word when we say adolescence, starting from
13, 12, 13, but mainly 13. I think 13 till 19 or 20 also.
Yeah. Also, if you can tell us, Dr. Hossam, what can be the role of the civil society in increasing the role or the sense of belonging amongst youth?
Civil societies have a very, very, very strong role because they, you know, they are all looking about the payment and charities and all of this, but they have another role with the youth and with adolescents. They have to go to their places in the clubs, in the schools, in the universities, and they have to make an awareness about belonging, about you have to share with your country, doing everything. Don't blame the governments and the country for doing what X and X and X, and you're not doing anything. You have to do, even without charity, not money. You can do an effort for your country. You can do an effort for your school or your university. This is what it makes belonging. When you own the place, it will be yours.
Yes.
This is the difference.
You know, also, just to include something that's really very, very important now, talking about the role of religion as well, and whether we're talking about Islam or Christianity, both religions, they are addressing the same part when it comes to the belonging, when it comes to faith and belief in God and all this. And definitely when you work on this from early age, I'm talking about now the role of parents as well,
Yes.
definitely this will make a big difference in the attitude, in the behavior of this child when he grows up. And this is what we're complaining about when it comes to many of the, let's say, bad behaviors that we see
Yes.
these days.
You know, religions is, from my point of view, is suitable for everyone and for every time. But we have to make changes, not in the main context, but in the meanings. The meaning is different. With each time have a different meaning. So we have to put in our children some values and some beliefs from the religious part, but with a meaning of belonging to even his town, his school, his country.
Let me put it like acceptance of others. And I
Yes.
think this is the
Acceptance of
the
others
key
is-
word
yes,
actually in all of
this
our
is-
troubles these
yes.
days.
We have to accept that each human is created for a specific purpose in a specific time, and you have to accept him, whatever. Never to regret that this human has no rule. He has rule, some in some place and in exact time.
Yes. Dr. Hossam Dwidar, relationship and life coach, thank you so much for your insight, and thank you for being with us on The Breakfast Show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And dear viewers, by this we come to the end of today's episode of The Breakfast Show. A recap of what we discussed. We talked about the economic progress and Egypt's economic reform program, and we also talked about boosting the sense of belonging among our children to their homeland, and increasing also the sense of patriotism. Dear viewers, you're in the company of myself, Karim Namaruddin, and Nashwa Rashid.
Thank you, Karim. Thank you all for joining us, and stay tuned for more coming up on Nile TV International.